Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Superbike rider Kyle Wyman. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel for more coverage, and also like or comment below.
It's time for the Motorcycle Superbikes at Minnesota from round 6 of the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship from Brainerd International Raceway. Welcome everyone to the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup Class, our second race of the weekend here at BIR. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, yesterday's race was entertaining because we had a crazy one up front.
Yeah, Tyler Scott and Benjamin Gloddy brought their battle from Laguna Seca right here to Brainerd. And what it's really doing is it's raising the level of both these young men as they pull away from the rest of the field. And today, I don't think will be any different.
Let's take a look at how those two raced up in yesterday from some highlights from race 1.
Well, it was pretty much the normal. These guys going back and forth. We've seen that a lot this year, and this is early in the race, and saw it just looked like Ty maybe just missed a gear there. There was a little gap, but he closed that gap right down, and he was able to get back up underneath Ben Gloddy a couple laps later in turn 3. Now, this is the last lap. Ben is able to go by Ty Scott going down through turn 2, only to get the favor to return to him in turn 3. But a little bit later in the lap, turn 6, Ben Gloddy makes a dive up the inside of position. He would hold until they get to turn 12, where Ty Scott goes up underneath him, but can't quite get the bike turned. Gloddy squares him up, turns it back up underneath him, and wins the race to the line.
It was unbelievable for Ben Gloddy, who in the last 5 races, well, he finished second 4 times. The last race win for Gloddy this season was all the way back in round 3 at Virginia International Raceway, so Gloddy gets the monkey off of his back. Let's get right down to Hannah, who was able to talk to the young Gloddy right after the race.
Greg, you're right. It's been a while since we've seen a smile this big on Benjamin Gloddy's face. Your first victory since VIR, your 3rd victory this season, and a hard-fought battle at that. Take us through that last lap. You were trading passes with Tyler Scott for that entire last lap. How'd you pull it off?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted the lead going into turn 12, and I thought I went in pretty deep, but he went in even deeper, and I was just able to square him up to lead onto the front straightaway to be able to get the win. But, I mean, it was an awesome race. He rode awesome. It was definitely hard to keep up with him, and it feels good to be back on top again.
Well, he had a great run at it. Can he do it again today? And how about this young man, Max Toth, after finishing 3rd, after missing 2 races, is back at it. Can he close the gap? And can the 58 win again?
I don't know about you, Roger Hayden. I'm Robbie Floyd. I think there's a line over there at the Fresh Cut French fries. Are they doing that, or are they going for the freshly squozen lemonade?
I would go for the lemonade. I've been wanting one all weekend, but the line's been too long for me. I don't have the patience for it.
This isn't necessarily, I mean, this cheese curd territory, but I mean, Wisconsin, I think they're known for the cheese curds. But again, a lot of things here. It looks like Jody Berry, his dad's up there on the spectator portion of this track. A lot of great opportunities for the fans to look. I know Michael Hill and his Racetrack Tunnel Appreciation Society, whatever in the heck that is, I know they're over there. They're camped out. Dude, look at the lemonade presence they have here, Roger. You're not alone. Holy smoke. See, in Texas, those would all be like, Josh Herron fans and Coors Lights.
Well, you never know what's in there.
That's true. That's a sippy cup right there. You don't know how much Chardonnay that bad boy's holding. All right, let's talk about it. We're going to get a couple of opportunities here, but this morning Ty Scott was putting the hammer down even in practice.
Yeah, Ty Scott this morning was really quick. A lot of really fast laps back-to-back. Looks like he definitely left a little sour taste in his mouth yesterday, losing that race by so close. And I expect him to come out today and really be fast those first couple laps, try to make that break if he can. But I think he tried that yesterday, and Ben Gloddy didn't let it happen.
Yeah, we saw only one mistake out of him in practice, even right here. He's trying to try and get away from everybody. He just doesn't want any part of anybody else. If he can get that breakaway, we're going to see it out of the 70. We'll talk more here in just a bit. Send it back over to Jason and Greg next door in our SportbikeTrackGear.com.
Welcome back. We're getting closer to the start of race number 2 here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Fans are out by the droves. It's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. Now, there's a couple young riders that are 14 years old making their debut this season. One of them is number 31, Kayla Yakov. The other one is number 13, Owen Williams. So we had Hannah go down and talk to the two young rising stars.
Greg, the STG Junior Cup is an amazing opportunity for young riders to enter into our paddock and cultivate their talent to hopefully move on. We have two new faces in our paddock that have joined us partway through the season. Up first, I've got Owen Williams here. Owen became of age at MotoAmerica, and that was your first round. How has your experience been within MotoAmerica so far?
It's been great. I mean, it's very technical, it's very strategic out here. It's very different than just gas and go, as you may not think. I've been lucky to have a great team on my side and with great teammates and other competitors to push me along. The community here has been really welcoming, and I really enjoy racing here.
Well, we're so happy to have you in our paddock. Another new face over here, I've got Kayla Yakov. Kayla's been racing all over the world, and we're fortunate enough to have her join us starting at the Ridge this season. How's your experience been so far?
It's been pretty good. You know, it's been difficult, but like Owen, I have a great team by my side, and just it's been step by step every weekend, just figuring it out and you know, improving every weekend. It's been a blast, and I can't wait to finish it off. Pretty good.
Well, best of luck to you both this season. Keep an eye on these two because you'll see big things from them in the future. I'm sure of it, Greg.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Two rising stars of the sport. And this is the racetrack they contend with. Jason Pridmore, 2.5 miles of total fun.
Yep, and literally from the start line there, you see, Greg, they're going to be drafting all the way to turn 3. We saw some 4-wide action as they went down into 3 yesterday. A lot of passing opportunities at this racetrack on these small bikes. They get into that technical section, Greg, and they're fast from turn 8 all the way to turn 12, 13. Not a lot of horsepower needed there, so these small bikes can really maneuver nicely. They come out of turn 13 and run down to that finish line.
This racetrack can create a ton of great race action. Cody Wyman, 5th yesterday, looking to win again this season. Can he get it done? We're getting closer to the race start.
You could talk about Tyler Scott and Ben Gloddy all you want, but what about Max Toth, the guy on the outside that's been looking in, lost a little bit of a touch from those front two guys. He knows that he cannot do that today if he's going to have a shot at the title.
Yeah, he definitely can't let those two guys get away at the front so early like he did yesterday. So hopefully he can get a good start, tag on to those guys. But it was really, really good to see him back here this weekend and being so competitive after, you know, missing the race at Laguna after that injury at the Ridge. And, you know, that's a pretty big injury for a young guy. So, you know, it's glad to see him back and back on pace.
Yeah, he finished 3rd. He was kind of like the best of the rest behind that battle up front. Toth, Wyman, Gus Rodeo, even David Kolstad. I think they were all within 1 second of each other. And one of those names I mentioned was the 34 of Cody Wyman. He finished 4th. Kermoto, Madden Painting, that Kawasaki, he's kind of getting faster and faster. I know to start of this week, he was more trying to get the back end of that bike. We see guys having struggles with the front and trying to get that front end grip. He was trying to work on suspension stuff to get the rear end, I think, set up better.
And for him, he's had a really good weekend. He's been in the top 5 almost every session and just was right there. Barely missed the podium yesterday, so I'm sure probably thought about that all night. Think about his plan, what he can do different today toward the end of the race to close it out and you know, end up on the podium.
And this seems almost like a Cody Wyman type of place, especially with that sweep in front of He was always that guy we'd see at MotoAmerica that would get in that draft, pull out, dive to the inside. That is this track.
Yeah, I mean we've seen him been solid all year, super consistent. Doesn't make a ton of mistakes, so any track we go to, he's going to be pretty, you know, pretty fast.
The guys to look for, David Kolstad, Gus Rodeo, they're always there. There's Gus Rodeo on that red bike leading that pack this time, even though this is the warm-up. Let's get ready. It's the final race for the SportbikeTrackGear.com Juniors. Who's going to win this one? It's been Scott and Gloddy all year long.
Today's STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. By SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
All right, we're back in ready for race 2. Rocco Landers having a conversation with his teammate Ben Gloddy, giving him the scoop as he just got done with his Super Sport race. Nice to have a teammate like that, Jay. But let's take a look at the starting grid as Tyler Scott was on pole with a 142.2 4.58.
Yep. Then we got Benjamin Gloddy and Max Toth. They're on row number 1. Kolstedt, Wyman, and Rodeo are going to be there on row 2. A little further back, Jack Roach, Max Van, and Owen Williams going to be there row 3. And then Tao, Yakov, and Blake Davis. A little further back, Chase Black, Bickness, and Force. Pedersen, the Vandal brothers, going to be back there on row number 6. Then Alex Reese, they're on row 7. So the riders have done their sighting lap. They've done their warm-up lap. So now it's going to be ready to go here, Greg. And both the two guys that were first and second yesterday both did 42.7s this morning in warm-up. So expect a little bit of the same. See these lap times get down there into the high 42s, maybe even mid to low 42s for the race.
Left part of your screen on the orange bike is pole position. Upper left-hand part when those lights go out. Here we go, race 2 underway, and a good launch from your pole sitter, Tyler Scott. He's going to lead us. This is kind of what he did yesterday. It was a jackrabbit start. That KTM gets off the line really well, JP.
Yeah, it really does. And Max Toth has slotted himself into third, right where he wanted to be. It looks like Cody Wyman's having a look as they go into turn 2. But Max Toth is going to be right where he needs to be. But the KTM has already jumped out to almost half second, Greg, as they get down into that turn 3 braking area. This is where everybody's going to be anxious to not want to let him get away. They know Gloddy is going to be able to pull them along, so it's going to be important for that group behind Gloddy to try to stick with him the best they can.
Pennsylvania's Tyler Scott on that Scott Power Sports KTM RC390R. Hasn't allowed the field to get as close as they were yesterday at this part of the race, but Benjamin Gloddy carrying all kinds of corner speed to keep Ty Scott in his gun sights.
And you can just see Gloddy just works the bike so well through 4, 5, and 6. They get out on that curbing, and they're just starting to gap that group again for third. Cody Wyman looks like he was having a go at Gus Rodeo as they went in there, and he was able to make that pass. So Toth right now really is the guy trying his best to go with these two in the front. See another little gap back to Cody, but that's going to be because he just went underneath Rodeo. So at the front right now, Ty Scott, Gloddy, Toth, Wyman, and Rodeo are your top 5.
Yeah, Toth talked about it in the Veloce Racing Ninja 400 yesterday on the podium, talking about wanting to close the gap and go with these top 2. He's doing a good job, and right now he's dragging the 34 of Cody Wyman on that Kermoto Madden Painting Ninja 400. So it's a battle right now, KTM and Kawasaki. We complete the first lap, and it's Tyler Scott, Gloddy, Toth, Wyman, Rodeo, Kolstedt, Max Van in 7th, just ahead of Jack Roche, Aiden Tao, and Owen Williams just ahead of Kayla Yakov.
Really nice job by Toth being able to kind of hang in there. As you can see, a pass for the lead. Gloddy gets the draft on the KTM as they came out of turn 1. He's able to get by as they go into turn 2. Scott's going to turn it back up underneath him, try to outbreak him as they go into 3.
Ty Scott taking that really tight inside line. Look how well he's able to make it work for him. As he has a look over his shoulder, does Gloddy, and he sees a whole pile of motorcycles right there. Ooh, Ty Scott, a little bit of movement from the front end trying to get into that corner. That's going to take him a little wide. Is that going to make him vulnerable for an attack from the 72?
You can hear these guys upshifting while the bikes are leaned over as they get out of turn number 5. So they're going to do a quick upshift and a quick downshift before they get to turn 6. The group behind them are doing their best to go with these guys right now, and you can see it's working out for those other 3.
Yeah, we saw Ty Scott grab his visor on his Arai helmet. One of the things he told me was that, Jason, as we take a look at the pass, this is going to be for the lead. Look how far into the inside he goes.
Yeah, and it almost looked like the front was moving around just a little bit, but again, Greg, it's because he's gone in there so tight to try to hold that position once he gets it. He doesn't want to run wide in the middle of the corner. So, but I'm really impressed with these other 3 guys that have gone with them.
Yeah, now we have a group of 5. Like I was saying before, what Tyler Scott had told me a couple hours ago was he wasn't going to take a shower before the race this time and have his hair fall into his eyes, but he did for a moment. Looked like he was adjusting the visor on his Arai helmet.
Toth in a great spot here. These guys will he'll get a little double draft down this straight, so he might be close enough. You can see how he gets drawn up into that draft. He's going to be on the outside. He'll be able to cut
Another
back down.
pass for the lead. So Gloddy goes up the inside, and now they're going to go side by side. No, it looks like Gloddy's got the point, but Toth sneaks up underneath.
There you go. That's that double draft I was talking about, Craig. See, Gloddy gets such a good run through 1, and now he looks over his left shoulder, and Toth's on his right. You can see him grabbing that visor again, like you said, G-Dub.
So 5 passes for the lead so far. Toth looked like he was going to try to make a move early. All the while, Cody Wyman hanging back there with Gus Rodeo. What a pack of riders we have in the mix, Jason. Tyler Scott with 5 victories. Ben Gloddy in there with 3 victories. Cody Wyman's won a single time. So has Gus Rodeo, and so has Max Toth. So all the riders in this bunch have won a race here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup Racing. Hannah, how about Ben Gloddy?
Greg, in talking to Benjamin Gloddy earlier today, he said they're running the same setup as yesterday. The bike felt really good throughout the whole race. He did want a little bit more rear grip, especially in the left corners, but he thinks it's manageable and he can still push really hard despite that. Ultimately, he's got the same strategy as yesterday as well. He really just wants to keep the pressure, and if he can take control of the race, which he has at this point, then he wants to do that and lead.
Yeah, well, you know, the thing is, Hannah, it's these kind of races, it's so hard to strategize, especially when you have so many people close together. But look at the gap that these two guys have pulled out on Ty Scott. Now Cody Wyman is trying to go to the outside of the KTM rider as they go around turn number 1 and through turn number 1. I think Scott's going to have that position. As you can see now, Toth goes up underneath Gloddy as they go through turn 2. So he was able to get that draft as well now, and the 58 is going to lead them down into turn number 3.
Wow. And look how quickly that gap closed up, Jason.
It does, yeah.
It's incredible, but the times they're doing, all of them in the 42s, these top 5. I mean, there was only 142 in qualifying yesterday, and that was Ty Scott. So the pace of this race has picked up dramatically.
And Cody Wyman, I mean, Gus Rodeo had done a 42.2 a couple of laps back. So, I mean, that's the fastest lap that we've seen. All these riders now have had a quick look over their shoulder. I've seen each one of them.
In unison.
Yeah, there was 2 of them in unison there that look back, but I've seen all of them have a little look over their shoulder. That's going to give them an idea of how big their group is. Because unless you're the 5th place rider, you're not going to see that you have plus a lot behind you. So Gus Rodeo is going to have plus, well, almost 5 seconds to the next rider behind him by the time they get around on this lap. But all these guys are going to see plus zero. They want to know how many people are in that group, though.
So Ben Gloddy, our winner from yesterday, trying to set the pace, but Max Toth having other ideas. So the 58, Toth out of Belmont, California on that Veloce Racing entry leading the way. And Ben Gloddy, 16 years old, out of New Hampshire, keeping him in tow. Just so important here at Brainerd International Raceway. There's so many short straightaways here.
There's a
These
draft
bikes
again.
need them.
There's a big draft again. But something happens to Ty Scott in that last little section that allows these two guys to open up that gap in between turns 12 and 13. But he's able to kind of draw them back in through here. You can hear the bikes on the limiter. Ty Scott's got a nice run on those 2 guys in front of him now. Let's see if he's able to get by at least one of them. He might go for 2. He's going to get that 1. He's going to go up underneath Toth as they go into turn 3.
Is Toth going to run out of some room? Trying to hold on to the position. Little elbows in the air.
Are out.
Oh, look at that. They're rubbing some elbows on that one.
But you know what's good there is Ty Scott gave Toth some room on the exit of that turn. So would have been real easy for Scott to kind of stand his bike upright and run Toth wide. He didn't do that. He gave him some room. So, you know, when the racing's this close, you got to be still looking out for each other a little bit.
This is the race action you love in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup Racing. Benjamin Gloddy continuing to lead the way. Max Toth got caught in a bit of a battle with Ty Scott. Closes up the gap. This is the group. Gloddy, Toth, Scott, Wyman, and Rodeo. And it has been the accordion effect as Scott just seems to struggle in 2 key areas of this racetrack, but then able to make it up again.
Yeah, I really want to look at it through here. Now you can see Scott's bike get a little bit out of shape there that time. But let's see the gap as they come out of this corner. That's what I'm more concerned with. Just seems like he loses a lot on the exit of 13, but he's able to draw it back in. You can see there's a little bit of a gap there. Toth did a nice job of running Gloddy back down through turns 13 and that run down that straightaway. And now he's on the left side. Probably won't be the most optimal spot, but if he got a good run, yeah, not quite there. Now, right now, this is where you're going to see Scott try to do a double draft here and then maybe duck out and get by both these guys into turn 3.
Here comes Tyler Scott. Under braking, he's going to go to the inside. Can't get it done, but Toth takes over the lead, Hannah.
And Greg, for Max Toth, you know, he was still working through some chatter. He wanted better front end feel, especially after this morning's practice session. They were working on that. Overall yesterday, he was content with third in points, but he was really disappointed in the gap to the leaders. I'm thinking right about now, he's wishing there was a much bigger gap to the leaders since the leader is he.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good way to put that.
Well put, yeah. But he's going to get pushed all the way. And you know what I'm really starting to notice too is, I think with Max Toth being in the group, it's pushed the brake markers up a little bit into turn 3, because we saw both Gloddy and Scott passing each other back and forth there yesterday. Scott had a good run on him down into turn 3 that time, Greg, and wasn't able to really get by either one. So I think Toth has obviously got a lot of confidence in the front end of that bike under heavy braking in some of the important spots here.
15-year-old Maxwell Toth leads the way. Getting close to 5 to go in this one. Coming by the pit straight. You can see that Wyman on the 34 loses a little bit on acceleration, able to make it back up under braking. But he and Rodeo just trying to hold on to these 3 as now they're starting to break away and pull away from 4th and 5th. So it's become a 3-horse race for the moment.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the lap times. The first 3, 42.8, 43.1, 42.7. The next 2 guys, 42.9s. So that's why you see that little gap. But Rodeo and Wyman are not out of this by far. If they can kind of just not get in each other's way, they'll be able to draw it back up onto these guys, because these 3 guys are going to go back and forth with each other a lot. And we'll see what happens here now in the braking duel for turn 3.
Gloddy to the point. Toth trying to find some room. Scott hanging tight. Rodeo had gotten around Wyman, so they've closed up. And Wyman and Rodeo still trying to duke it out for that 4th place position.
But they're on the back again now, though, Greg. You can see just that little bit with those 3 guys going into turn 3. It's going to be kind of who can let off first, and whoever doesn't let off first, the second and third guys, they're going to have to let off a little bit earlier or slow their mid-corner speed down to start with, and it allows those other 2 guys to draw up on the back of them.
Gus Rodeo, the 96, with a look over his shoulder. Just so much corner speed needed to keep the momentum going for these smaller displacement Junior Cup motorcycles. A lot of riders are going to sit up right here, grab a downshift, through the chicane they go, and it's to 100% throttle and behind the bubble to get as aero as they can to get a good drive. Now a sight that we haven't seen. You can see the heat coming off the racetrack. These Dunlop tires loving the heat created by the sun here at Brainerd International Raceway.
I liked how Cody Wyman came out of that left-hander there for the first time. It looked like he was before running a little bit wide, but see, now he's going to be able to get in that KTM's draft. He really went through 12 and 13 nicely, and he's able to make that pass, Greg, and that's going to be all set up by how he came out of turn 12. So Cody Wyman takes himself up to 3rd. Now he's going to be the guy trying to sniff out the draft of these 2 as Toth goes back up underneath Gloddy as they go through turn 2. You'll see in the screen, there he comes. Cody Wyman's going to be tight as they go down into turn number 3, but he puts himself in a great spot, and he's going to slot himself into 2nd. Gloddy's going to lose 2 positions on the run down to 3. He's going to, looks like Scott runs a little bit wide. Gloddy might take that 3rd place back over.
So much race action here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup as Max Toth leads the way. Cody Wyman gets himself into 2nd spot with Ben Gloddy in 3rd, and our early race leader Tyler Scott in 4th, with Gus Rodeo hanging back there as well. What action we are seeing. Could we see the 34 of Wyman make his way to the front?
Oh yeah, and this is what happens though once you get up there. And you know, there was a couple laps where I saw him come into turn 12 and run really wide, and that last time was just a lot more tidy. So we're going to see if he can hold on to Toth through this whole little section here. This is the chicane part. They come out of there. Now Wyman's just got to try to close this gap back up just a little bit, because Toth is starting to just get away. Hannah, what do you have?
Well, Jason, Cody's made minimal changes to the bike, but you're right, he is a little bit smoother in those corners. He was working on his riding, really, especially his corner entry, and he really wanted to find a little bit more time, especially in Sector 3. He knew he had a podium battle for today. Ultimately, he just wants to finish strong here and carry that momentum into the last 3 rounds, since they're tracks that he really likes.
And he got passed by Ben Gloddy as Gloddy started to see Toth eke away. It was a moment of urgency for the number 72. That'll allow this whole group to get right back up. And there's another move up the inside and another pass for the lead.
Cody's going to be in a good spot again, though. As you can see, he moves over a little bit. Now Scott's going to duck out as well. He almost got 5 wide as Rodeo's hung out on the outside, but now Gus Rodeo's put himself in a really nice spot. I like what I'm seeing out of Gus Rodeo. I've watched him come by our position here a couple times and set himself up on the inside of guys, only to think better of it because it's still a little bit early, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Gus Rodeo moving up. He's been watching what all of these 4 in front of him have been doing, Greg, and he's been able to kind of hang back, see what's happening, and while all these guys dice it up.
Jason, the fast lap of the race was Rodeo on lap number 2 at a 142.236. Last time by, Ben Gloddy was able to go. Max Toth a 42.837. So some of these riders still able to dip into the 42s this late in the race.
Believe it or not, a lot of that's going to be that run out of 13 and getting that charge up through 1 and 2 and drafting. If you're second or third back and you've not had the best lap prior, but you can get a double bike draft, that first split will really help you duck back down into the 42s.
You're looking at the battle for the race win. Second place, third place, the podium spots. As Gloddy continues to lead the way. Over the 58 Toth, 34 Wyman, 40 Tyler Scott. Scott thinking with the pace he had this morning that this might be a 2-rider show, and even talked about potentially wanting to check out of this race.
Cody's going to get a double draft right now, Greg. Watch this. The rider in third place. He might not have anywhere to go when he gets there because he's in that draft now, and he's going to be kind of on the outside of these guys carrying a lot of speed. He's going to duck it back down up underneath them.
He's trying to go up the inside.
And look at Ty Scott. He's going to try to go up underneath all of them.
There's plenty of racetrack there, and there goes Scott. So using a double draft, and he'll go right to the lead. So just like that. Ooh, Scott, though.
Look like he didn't get it back into the gear he wanted it to be in, or did he, Greg? His visor's up again.
Yeah, so Scott having some onboard issues, but he will hold on to the lead. A little wide goes the KTM rider. So now all of a sudden, just like that, on our 11th lead change of the race, it's Scott, Toth, Wyman, Gloddy, and Rodeo just hanging back there. And something tells me Rodeo has something in the tank, a plan that he hasn't quite shown us yet.
Oh, this is a big move there.
Oh, yeah. That would have been too risky.
Yep, that's a big move for Toth there going into turn 8, but he might have been a test run for just in case he needs to try to pull something like that off going into our last lap. We've only got a lap and a few corners left to go here, so all these guys are close again with Ty Scott taken to the point, our points leader. And right now, if he was to come across the line in this order, he'd gain some pretty big points on Benjamin Gloddy, who's back there in 4th. You can see him getting that bike backed in there.
I think a lot of the strategy for these bikes has to play out in the corners that are coming up here. That turns 1, 2, 3 area where the draft comes into play. But that is a dress rehearsal to the start-finish line. It seems like who's ever leading coming out of 13 might have the advantage. Here we go.
He's going to have 3-rider draft here. Look at this. So we're going to be 4 wide going in and through turn 2, and he got shuffled out. Cody Wyman's going to take to the front. You got Ty Scott on the inside of Toth, and Gloddy's trying to go around the outside of all of them. It's going to put him in a bad spot, Greg, especially because now Rodeo's going to be up to the right side of him. It's a battle into turn 3 for the braking. Scott's going to win that battle with Toth and Wyman slotting in just behind.
So Wyman had the lead for just a moment. So much going on there in this final lap. The white flag is out. And this is where tensions start to get really high.
Cody Wyman slides up underneath Toth to get into second spot. So now let's see if he can get out of this right-hander and do anything into the next left on Scott. He's not going to be close. Toth might return the favor as they go into here. Not close enough. So Wyman right now is in the spot where he can challenge for this win. And I'm sure Ben Gloddy's getting a little frantic back there. He doesn't want to see these points get away.
More movement with the visor from Scott. Trying to clear that vision. Look at Wyman trying to go up the inside. Scott carrying too much speed over the bump. Wyman trying to find some room. Can't do it there. That was risky. Through the chicane. There's going to be another chance. Another spot to attack. Is Wyman going to be close enough? Scott with a great drive. Can he attack into turn number 12? It's stretched out a little bit now. Scott trying to break the draft. And he goes sideways. Is it going to be too much? No. He gets it down to the apex. Does the 70. The final corner, up the inside, tries Gloddy on Wyman. Here's the drag race. Everyone using all the racetrack. And Scott will take victory over Wyman and Gloddy with Toth and Gus Rodeo And here comes the rest of the pack. David Kolstad in 6th spot over Max Van. Look at that battle raging behind. Who's going to have it on this one? It's going to be Kayla Yakov goes P7 over Aiden Tao. Max Van 9th. Blake Davis in 10th. Jack Roach in 11th. Owen Williams and Chase Black. What a pack that was.
Wow. Yeah, that second pack, we didn't get to see any of it because the running up to the front was so good. Ty Scott rebounds from his second place finish yesterday. You can see, Greg, 42.7 there on lap 4. I mean, Gus Rodeo went 42.2, but he really just didn't have anywhere to go on that last lap. Bikes were kind of going everywhere. So, you know, when you look at what Gus did, top 5, he's going to be happy enough with that, but he knew that win was right in front of him. Great race.
Wow, so Tyler Scott with a win by 1/10 of a second. We'll find out how it went for him in that melee when we return.
Well, that was an interesting race for Tyler Scott, and I don't know if he was just kind of sitting back and waiting for that draft. And I questioned to you, Roger, and I still don't know the answer. I mean, did they even change the gearing on that bike? Because they looked like he was going a little underneath in more places than I saw the day before, and I was wondering if he was doing that by design.
I think just kind of changing up his strategy a little bit, but he played his last lap perfect. We've seen him do that a lot this season, so hats off to him. Rode a great race, and what a battle we had at the front, and also we had a battle of 8 guys from about 6th to all the way to 14th.
You say guys, there was a girl in there too, and she bested most of them. Kayla Yakov in 7th. David Kolstad able to pull a little bit on that last 2 laps, but I mean, Yakov ahead of Tao and Van, Davis and Roach. Let's take a look at this last lap and everything that went down. There's Ty Scott out in front. Max Toth looked good this entire race as well. I mean, he could have just as easily have won.
He did a lot of work, you know, that whole race at the front, but you can tell headed into turn 3, Tyler Scott definitely wanted to be the guy leading in the infield. Left the brakes on late here. You see him right at the apex kind of lose the front end. Left foot's going to come off the peg, and you know, he held on to it though. You can see all these guys just trying to stay in his draft, and he's trying to break it every little straightaway possible.
You saw a lot of drafting out of Cody Wyman. Cody do what Cody do. I mean, and that was the case. He couldn't hold it a couple of turns before, but then he gets aggressive and gets by Max Toth once again. That's eventually what kept him into 2nd place. Wyman in 2nd, Toth 3rd. Ben Gloddy getting good runs out there, and this was not a good race for Ben Gloddy at the finish because with Wyman in between, this hurt his points chances a little bit.
You see Wyman here looks at the inside, thinks about it, but just can't get close enough to make the pass. But Ben Gloddy, you see there, makes the pass on Max Toth for 3rd right there in the carousel.
Things choked down there, and Gloddy can kind of straight line, but at this point he knows that the race wind's probably gone. Can I catch up with that green bike? I question what would happen with Ty Scott coming into the hard left-hand turn. He took more of a racing line than we've seen some others do this week.
Yeah, he kind of faked him out like he was going to block the inside, and the last minute went on the out, and I think it kind of threw Cody out. You see Ben Gloddy there in 3rd, tried to make a move on 2nd, but you know, it all worked out in Tyler Scott's favor.
Yes, it did. Scott, Wyman, Gloddy, Toth, and Rodeo. Rodeo back there in 5th, and he finishes in 5th, but it's this time, and again, there's Kolstad pulling away. Gus Rodeo saying, guys, take yourself out. I'm here to clean up the scraps.
Yeah, Gus was just right there, but just never got close enough to make a pass, just stayed in that 5th spot, and, you know, it was great rebound from those guys yesterday. Cody Wyman, Max Toth, Gus Rodeo. They were a lot quicker than they were yesterday.
All right, I talked about the hair. You talked about how he'd mentioned on the podium that he was having issues with his hair, but we saw a lot of movement and a lot of tugging on that visor today. I thought I might even saw a brake adjustment. I don't know, but there was a lot going on there with Ty Scott. Either way, he takes the win on the KTM.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back. Jason Pridmore, there was, well, I counted 13 passes, but it's really hard to say because there were a couple times that
it's hard to keep up. And I saw you trying to keep up with pen and paper here. And, you know, at any one time, any of these guys could have been leading in through turn 3, but the guy that did it the best today is Ty Scott.
Take a look at the results. So what I meant was 13 lead changes.
Changes, yeah.
Yeah, 10th of a second there for Tyler Scott over Wyman. Ben Gloddy is so close to those top 5. And then you had David Kolstad, who was kind of in kind of a lone race for the 29. And a great job by Jakob to finish 7th. Let's get right down to Hannah with our race winner. Kind of a smile on his face today.
Tyler Scott is back on top of the box, but Tyler, we saw you again out there struggling with your visor. What was going on?
Just a couple times my hair fell down, but it was really competitive. I thought we were able to break away today, but it was a good group of 5 of us, and I just pushed to the end. But big thanks to KTM, RI Helmets, Bob Robbins, New Roads, everyone that helped out and worked so hard this weekend.
Congratulations, Tyler Scott, today's STG Junior Cup race winner.
Great job by Scott. I think perhaps we need to get a GoFundMe page for a haircut.
Maybe get him a haircut. Then he won't have to worry about that stuff, you know?
It's hard to
just
say.
Saying.
Yeah, I'm
Supercut
just saying.
sponsor?
Or maybe the rest of the field wants the hair to fall into his eyes because of the speed of Tyler Scott. What a great job by the young man to win. Let's get right down to Hannah.
Second place today goes to Kerr Moto's Cody Wyman. Cody, you were able to patiently make your way forward. How were you able to kind of strategize those passes for a podium finish?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we went really tall with the gearing, and it showed. They're all popping off the limiter in through 2, and I was able to kind of back it up and still keep driving. Again, just chassis was dialed, just trying to. That taller gearing really made me work hard in the tight stuff. Just big thanks, Kerr Moto, Harvey Davidson, Araya Helmets, Cortag Helmet House, Fastline Performance, SBS, Quarterly, Evil Technologies. Everyone, my whole family's been helping us out. Thermal Tech USA has helped out. Good to get back in the box here after what feels like a long time.
Congratulations, Cody Wyman. Guys?
All right, for Cody, his 4th podium appearance of the season. And a good run, Jay. And you know what? Sometimes these races, these podiums happen thinking inside the pits.
No question. And these guys are the ones that closed the gap down and actually went quicker than they did yesterday to get to these front 2 guys. Let's get back down to Hannah.
Third place today goes to Benjamin Gloddy. Ben, you guys were trading passes all race long, especially that last lap. What was the plan, and were you able to kind of execute it the way you wanted?
No, not at all. I really wasn't expecting Gus or Cody to be up there, but you know, anything happens, it's racing. It was a good race overall. We went back and forth the entire race, but I wouldn't have been able to do it without my whole Landers Racing crew, Arai Helmets, the Big S, my whole team, everybody, just thank you.
Congratulations, today's 3rd place finisher, Benjamin Gloddy.
Good kid, Jay, but
great kid.
That's the interview we kind of expected.
Yeah, he's frustrated, and I don't blame him. I mean, you know, the thing is that there was a few other guys today with Top as well getting in the mix, and you know, it's hard to make a plan in this class because there's so much you know, drafting and passing going on and big braking duels into turn 3, and he just couldn't quite get himself in the place that I think he wanted to be in on that last lap.
What a shift in the championship standings, Jay. It was 7, the difference between Scott and Ben Gloddy, but with Gloddy's 3rd place finish, the gap in points, it's now up to 16 with 6 races remaining in the season. Jay, what do you think?
Still very doable. Obviously, it's very doable, and you can see there Cody Wyman kind of solidified 3rd spot there, and he's going to some tracks that I know he likes, Pittsburgh and things. So, but it's still, you know, Gloddy and Ty Scott. It's going to come all the way down to the last race, I think, last weekend at Barber.
I cannot wait to see what happens with SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup at Pit Race coming up August 13th through the 15th. We hope to see you there. If not, we'll be right here bringing you the action. For Hannah Lope and Jason Pridmar, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
All smiles for Tyler Scott. And that is funny. I mean, they're right, though. I mean, Supercuts, that'd be a good one.
Well, I was saying earlier, why don't you just go see Anthony Mazziato? He's a barber.
Dude, yeah. But, I mean, it'd be better to make money than just get a free haircut. Or, I mean, you still got to tip them, I guess. But, yeah, Ty Scott, Cody Wyman, and the gearing change. So I questioned whether Ty might have done that, and we heard that Cody did that. Things are a little different when you do that. They're a little tall. So he was able to have some of that top-end speed, and that's why we were seeing him draft. I mean, he had a little something left on the end of the straightaway, but how hard it is once you get to the tight stuff to try and carry that gear.
Yeah, it's a little bit of give and take, but definitely you could tell in the draft there in the turn 2, he had a little bit more top speed, and but maybe it cost him a little bit in the infield. But whatever it was definitely a lot better than it was yesterday because he was quite a bit quicker today.
He dug in hard, though, still able to take second. Ben Gloddy loses some points. Max Toth get a strong run with Gus Rodeo. Kolstad, who knows? I mean, he's one of those guys. He could have been a little dive-bomb Willie if he'd have been up there in that group of 5. He was able to separate there towards the end and take 6. But Kolstad's that other rider, and we'll see him, especially I think up in New Jersey and in Pittsburgh. We'll see him back up near the front. But that KTM looked really good with Tyler Scott on it. Again, extending his points lead once again. I'd like to thank all the fans for coming out today. We still have more races to go, including the Hono Superbike will be our next race at about 3:10. And then our final race of the day, the Twins Cup. So will Jake Gagne, will Caleb DeCarroll be able to